All right, we are live. The event has started. The stream is streaming. The Sunday is Sundaying. It's one of those lazy days, but I'm glad to welcome the stage team to another live event. And we have a special sneak peek for everyone on stage and in the audience. The new Epic Enhanced is, or Epic Enhancement, or whatever you want to call it. Well, actually, let's call it what it is. But it's open. So we have screenshots we can share. So I want to remind everyone that there is a live chat. You can talk with the stage team, talk with your fellow players in the live chat. We have a hand up icon where you can come up on stage and ask a question. More than welcome to entertain you guys on stage. We're also live streaming this on YouTube and Twitch. YouTube is recording, so you can share and disseminate this information amongst yourselves or your alliance members, or for future reference. Without further ado, let's get this show started.
Woohoo! Okay, let's do this. So, as everyone knows with the title and how Otto brought up the epicness of this Epic Enhanced Evo, we have, okay, let me correct myself. Only a very, very, very few amount of players have now been able to start a brand new evolution. Me, definitely not. I'm probably not going to see it until 2027, but we have a little sneak peek, and Soul here has like the nice epic news and details about it. So, Soul, you want to bring it off with this new Epic Enhanced Evo?
Absolutely. So the reason why this has been kind of a very difficult enhancement for people to find or see is pretty simple. The requirements to open it are pretty drastic. So in order to open this evolution, it's not just having one T10 or two T10s open or three T10s open. Okay. You literally have to have the Excellent Enhanced Evo opened at 100% in order for Epic Enhanced to appear on the evolution chain. So you wouldn't even get a sneak peek of it until Excellent Enhance is completed. So in order to complete Excellent Enhance, all three T10s have to be complete, because during the Excellent Enhance evolution, in order to complete like a third of it, you have to have one T10 open. In order to complete the second third of it, you have to have two T10s open. And in order to complete the third half, the third third of it, you have to have three T10s open. So basically, all three T10s need to be open, and then Excellent Enhanced needs to be completed and maxed in order for Epic Enhanced to open up. So that being said, I only know of two players in the entire game that have opened it so far. I've heard there might be a third or fourth out there. So it is going to take quite a while for this to open. Now, that being said, we've taken a look at some of the actual points when it comes to the Epic Enhance. I'm posting a video right now in live chat that is basically walking down the entire chain to show the different skills that it's going to be improving. We don't have exactly how many creature remains are going to be required outside of the first couple, the first requirements, which are typically low. And as you know, creature remains increase requirement as you go up the chain. If Excellent Enhance is any indication, a typical T10 evolution chain, and we all know how hard it is to get through T10, requires about 2.5 million creature remains. So that being said, excellent enhance is over 5 million creature remains needed in order to complete. So think about that for a second, how long it took you to get your first T10. For those in the older servers, a lot of players have opened up 2. Some have opened up 3. But regardless of that, there are very, very few players that have all 3 T10s open, plus excellent enhance maxed out in order to open this. So this will definitely be a long road thing. That's kind of the bad news. The good news is if you break down the actual improvements that Epic Enhance give you, it is not it's not a drastic change, but there are some points in it that are really kind of cool because it's items that are harder to improve in the game. Yet this kind of solves that in a manner that it will take a while for people to do it. So I'm going to post some pictures now of the actual chain itself with the names of it, and then we'll break down each and every enhancement that it's going to change, and then you guys can ask questions in chat or in raise your hand and come up on stage and ask any questions that you may have, and we'll try to answer them as best we can.
So I gotta say, I'm actually liking these titles they're giving these evolutions.
Yes. High morale. I think that's a VJ only enhancement from what I hear.
Oh, so some of these evolutions are directly towards
I think he's
seasons?
making a joke. I hope he's making a joke.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh my goodness. See everyone, this is what happens when we
Morale
don't get
was
Draco coffee.
one of the topics for the first DJ and why so many
I was
blue
muted.
teams
I
got
laughed. I was
slaughtered.
laughing muted.
So the
But
first one is going to be high morale, and this is going to be an increase in all squads attack. So if you look at the excellent enhance evolution and compare it to epic enhance, at first glance, this looks like it's going to be geared more towards attack buffs because of the starting point of it being an attack, where excellent enhance is more a defensive. Have someone with that Evo in your team, morale goes up. It's legit. Yeah, sure. So that is the first one. Now, what I did looking at these is that if you look at the percentage of increase, it's 1% increase per level, which if you've looked at other Evo chains, basically maxing this thing out is going to increase it probably around 20%. It increases 1 by 1. If it's a 0.5, it typically increases 0.5 all the way across. We won't know until we go through these 100%, but we typically in evolution don't see a change in the percentage as you go further along. So the only thing that's going to change is it's going to require more and more creature remains in order to gain that extra 1% as you go. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to be a game changer when it comes to this particular chain. 20 points towards attack when players that are at the level of opening this are going to be at the 3,000% attack or higher. So just something to consider. Again, not a big game changer on that first one. The second one is called Fierce Offense. Again, it's another attacking one. When attack increase all squads normal attack damage. Again, it's a 0.5% increase. So you're going to see a 10% increase in this.
That's actually pretty huge.
Wow.
So normal attack damage is the total number. So it's not a base number. So you're increasing the total number. I can't really get much into it, but that's actually a very, very large buff.
You think 10%?
10% is a very large buff. Yes.
Okay. All right. And then the next one is where the next one, if you look at the chain, it opens up 3 of them. Okay. I'm getting lost here. Getting ahead of myself. So when attacking, increase all squads skill damage.
Yeah.
That one again is a huge one.
It's a huge, huge one. Yeah.
Look how much creature remains cost just for the first levels. Holy.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's going to get in the hundreds of thousands of creature remains.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2035, when I get there, how many creature remains do I need?
Well, from the screenshots, Soul has been kind enough to provide us. This poor player only has 14,000 creature remains left.
Oh,
Well, just imagine opening up the last to go from 1920 to 2020, and the last chain is over 100,000 creature remains.
Oh,
yeah. So they basically opened this up when it came out, and they were wiped out of creature remains. So, and I think that's going to be the case with most players.
yeah. I really like how they introduced a brand new evolution to the Evo tree. Because, like we discussed last week on stage, some players are already close to hitting or have already completed all evolutions, which makes, SVS for Evolution Day pretty useless for them because they can't do anything. So this is a nice little add-on, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I've been getting a lot of notifications in game that players have completed all T10s. So
yeah, we just got
I really
one.
like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the next one on this list is flexible reaction, and that's going to decrease the counter effect from enemy soldier ants. So we're starting to get into more like defensive traits. This Guppy, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably will affect. It'll be better on maybe like shooters, guardian mains, over carriers in the sense that, like with the dodge effects and stuff that are with carriers, but it'll help carriers as well.
Yeah, I believe it's like a counter, right? So for shooters, it'll decrease the damage taken from guardians. For carriers, it'll decrease the damage taken from shooters, and guardians decrease the damage taken from carriers.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Okay, so now the next portion of this, I'm going to post 3 different pictures, okay? Because this one, to me, I think is the biggest benefit in this entire Evo chain. This one and the next one that I'm going to show a little bit later. But when you get to this point in the chain, it's going to increase skill defense. And as we know, even the top players in this game are in the 220, 220% skill defense or skill attack. That's one of the stat buffs that is the hardest to increase because there's very few locations where you can increase it, with the mutation fungi being one of them. But when you look at this, it starts out at 1%. So if you maximize it, it's going to take it up to 20%. So that's basically a 10% increase on most players' skill defense that they have. Now, that is kind of where this evolution's broken, right? In the sense that if you can get to this point during this evolution, you're going to be increasing your skill defense significantly from the norm. But I like how they did it here, because what they did was they broke it down by line. So you are increasing it by 20%, but it's only per line. So it's going to take a lot of creature remains to get all three of these open, so that your full potential of your squad increase by 20%. It's going to take a while for people to get to that. It's basically how they broke it down.
So
you
for sorry,
Guppy
so
on-
just to
Yeah.
Oh, yep, sorry, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but so I love how they have this all separated. Is it let's say possible for players to, if they want their back line, if they're heavy hitters, to increase their skill defense, to work on the increased backline squad skill defense first, or are they forced to, start from the very front line, then the middle line, then the back line? Or can they just choose whatever one?
I think they can increase it. When it gets to that point, it's like the triple portion of the tree. So basically, you unlock the one above it, and then you have like three of them that you can increase at the same rate, and all of them have to be maxed in order to continue forward.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that.
So you can increase 1%, 1%, 1% per each line, however you want to do it. But it all, like in that case, it's going to be very heavily dependent on what your formation is. Like for a GSS main, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, honestly, probably for any main, most people are going to increase it on their front line, okay, first, because you want to defend the rest of your squad the best. So you're going to try to get that front line skill defense as high as you possibly can. It'll be especially effective in GSS formations, just because the whole point of a GSS formation is that you have like a strong front line defensive ant that can protect the shooters that are in the back that are dealing more damage. Okay, that's the whole idea behind GSS. But the same goes for if you're a carrier main. Most players are going to put their damage dealing ants in the back row, so they last the longest through the battles. So when it comes to this particular chain, you're going to want to focus on the front line ant, no matter the formation that you have, because you want to have the and then the middle line ant, and then the back line ant when you get to that point. But I think that the amount of creature remains that are going to be required to get that, like, past 10, let's say, are going to be pretty significant. So it's going to take any player, whether you're a huge spender or if you're a free-to-play player, going through this Evo chain is going to take a while. So we have a lot of time before it gets to that. But like I said, the amount of creature remains that are going to be required are not. Nobody's going to blow through this chain like this evolution super quick, because if Excellent Enhance costs 5 million, I'm gonna estimate that this one's probably going to be closer to 7 million. It's going to be hard to find out now with this initial release, because we don't have the charts or anything like that to kind of guess at where it's going to wrap up. But guessing just how this game is played, I'm going to say that it's going to take quite a while for any player to get through. So after you go through the skill defense, the next part of it is going to be this iron defense. Again, it is a defensive skill, increasing all squads defense. And then we go to another chain that is going to be all squads normal attack damage. When defending. And then we have another increased counter effect to enemy soldiers. And then we get into the next portion of the chain, which is going to be similar to the one we were just discussing about skill defense, but now this is skill attack. Okay, so when you get towards this portion of the evolution, again, it is another portion of stat increases that are very difficult. So this potentially 20% increase is going to be huge. But where this will be different is most players at that point will be focusing on putting this towards their backline ants because, again, it's an attack increase. Most squads have damage-based ants in the back row or middle row, and so that's kind of where that'll flip-flop, where you set the priority to it. Wouldn't you agree, Guppy?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are actually pretty huge.
I know.
But
I just think for as huge of an increase, I like that they broke it down by line because it's going to take a lot of creature remains. And so, like, it doesn't matter how big of a player you are, it's going to take you a long time to get through to maximize those particular chains.
Yeah, that way you could focus on your damage dealer squad first.
Yeah.
And then kind of work your way. I like that.
Yep. And then the second from last one on this chain is called Increase All Squads Health. Pretty basic there. Again, it's going to increase health up to 20%, which, again, is another pretty significant increase when you consider, like, stat-wise, 1,000% is kind of like the goal anyone has. There are players out there that do have more than that, but like increasing it by 20% is going to be a huge one. The final one is called Epic Tactics. So this one is going to be pretty nice, it looks, because it's a 4% increase on the first level, which means it is potentially an 80% chance for this to pop off. So it's, if any damage skill of our squads is not released in the first round, the chance of its release and its damage will increase in the second.
That's interesting to me, right? So let's say we're talking about Reapmaster here, and let's say you've maxed this out, so it's 80%. Does that stack on Reapmaster's percentage chance to proc a skill to where it'll be 100% the next round if it doesn't proc off?
That I don't know. And I don't know how soon we're going to be able to find that out.
I mean, that'll change the game for sure when that finally gets maxed out, if that is the case, because a lot of ants are going to be really relevant.
That is very true. But I don't know. I mean, just the fact that, like we discussed earlier, there's probably only 2, 3, 4 players in the entire game that have that opened. To get that to that point, maxing it out is going to be. I'm kind of curious how long it would take, but I think personally that it's going to take a very, very long time. I know some pretty massive whales in this game that have not even they're not even close to opening it yet. So to get through the entire thing, it'll be very interesting to see how quickly they do. Now, do we have any questions about this? Sorry, I was posting in the chat while talking, so I may have missed some questions here. I thought I saw know how defense work on soldiers besides guardian ants. Did you see Morgan's question, Guppy?
I did not. Hold on 1 second. Defense for shooters. Defense for shooters and fight is useless. It's not necessarily useless. All the stats are relevant in some cases, and it just depends on who you're fighting. For example, I mean, defense for shooters, if you're fighting carriers, I mean, they're not going to do a whole lot when it comes to normal damage. When it comes to skill damage is much different. If you're fighting, let's say the Dolly Weaver Wise Berserker combo, defense is big. Know how defense works on soldier besides guardian ants? I mean, defense works on all types of soldiers the same way.
Yep, that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, defense is for normal attack. If anybody's curious about that.
Any other questions about this before we move on to the next topic? Post them in chat, or if anyone wants to come up on stage, we'll go ahead and answer their questions now. I'm sure our friend Cleo here is grabbing those screenshots, and after stage is over, if you want, you can always go to our tactics team and ask any questions over there. They'll be more than happy to answer. Cleo's disappointed. Oh no. What did you think? It was going to break the game with this evolution? Come on. Cleo.
I mean, I don't know. If it's max, we get 20% normal attack damage bonus, and then 10% skill damage bonus is massive as well. I mean, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, I think the skill defense, skill attack ones are very huge.
Yeah, those are big as well.
You're talking, potentially 20% increase from when most players are well below 200%, right? I mean, like you see the top players in this game have 200, barely breaking 200%. So having an additional 20% is 10% increase in skill attack is huge.
Yeah, those are massive buffs.
All right, I think we're going to have Skeet come up to ask a question on another topic.
Oh, the heal from excellent enhance. That's the final evolution, right?
Yeah.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew how good that was.
Well, I can name a couple players that you could hit to test that out if you.
I mean,
if you're really
the players that have that maxed out, I don't think it's really gonna make a difference when I hit them.
Well, if you ever face DOK or LOB in a event, you can the top players on those teams will have that unlocked. So hit them a couple times in a tower, and you can see.
I'll have to hit him a couple dozen times.
Man.
But with all...
Before... Go ahead, Guppy.
With all the invasion and garrison buffs coming out, I'm curious as to if they're gonna change how that works.
Like for it to
Uh,
affect towers as opposed to just hills.
exactly, because I
Yeah.
mean, technically, in a way, that is an invasion and also a garrison. So I'm hoping that they change how that works, because
I do.
I feel like
I just don't have hope for it.
I'm not too hopeful on it, but I'm kind of hoping that they do change that.
If for those of you that are curious as to what we're discussing here, so if you ever look at the increasing in the mutation pool, for example, there are buffs that affect invasion and garrison. The argument has been made for a long time that those stats should apply when it comes to towers, but they don't. They apply for invading another person's hill, or if your hill gets attacked. The reason why it's a point of contention for a lot of players is the game early game. It is effective, I guess, because before events were a thing, there's a lot more attacking hills and defending your own hill. But as you progress in the game, it's more event based, where you're building towers, defending towers, attacking enemy towers. And so you're putting your troops into these towers. They're getting hit, knocked out, back and forth, whatever may be the case. And these skills that are geared towards attack, invasion, and garrison don't apply. So some of the skills in this tree are based on invasion and garrison and in the game in other areas. And so a change in that probably would be very nice, although I don't know how they would implement that when other areas are geared towards it, but we'll see. We did have a
Hey, Skeet, welcome to stage. Sorry, Soul. Skeet, I know you were saying you have a question that's not about the topic, and what's your question for us?
Hey, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Well, my question was I have quite a few different members and other people asking about the subject of this new changing the times for the events. I have a couple of people worried that they're not gonna be able to join an event soon. So they're like rushing to join this last one before the pause or whatever it is. I was wondering if there was any information out there about it or thoughts about it that may be able to help me ease my members.
Nothing back there's for sale. Everything for sale is countered for.
Otto, hot
Yeah.
mic. Um, yeah, I'm not too sure if maybe Soul or Guppy has some information, but from what I know, sorry, go ahead.
Are you talking about like protection time, Skeet?
No, he's talking about the
No,
adjustment of the start time for events.
What is it? You broke
So
up there.
the next batches are being delayed. He's talking about the message everybody received about the shifting of the batch
You
starts.
broke up a little bit. What was the question, Draco?
Yep. So
Me talking
here I got
Okay.
the screenshot of the.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Otto.
Here,
But
let
is
me
that-
post it.
Is that correct, Skeet? You're asking about why they pushed back the start times for events?
No, I'm not about why they pushed it back. I know they're pushing it back, but I'm wondering if there's any information of how long it's gonna be, because I have people worried to join, to wait for us to come back from event. They want to join this last one, they think they're going to be waiting months or something.
Well,
Well-
I'll tell you this right now. If you wanted to, I mean, you technically are going to be waiting months. The reason being is I think there's like a 10-day period from when registration opens till you actually go to event. So the registration period of this event isn't going to open until September 23rd. And then from that day, you'd be basically waiting 10 days. But if you're currently on an event, the wait shouldn't be that long because you probably have another 12 or 14 days on the event.
Yeah.
So that's going to put you towards the beginning of September return, because you have the competition period would end, then you have another 1.5 days still on event, then you return to the server beginning of September, and then you're basically going to be waiting 2 or 3 weeks for it to open, and then another 10 days to go through the registration, BSC, and then signing up for an event. So there is a slight delay compared to other events where you land back on the server and then it's usually about 2 weeks. So I think it's going to increase it for your team by an additional week or so. But it's not that drastic of a wait. So it would have affected players that were on the last batch that are already back on server, because if they didn't register for this, the registration period wouldn't open until the 23rd again. So that in that scenario, they would have already been back on server. It would have taken 2 weeks to get to register for this August 12th batch. And if they didn't sign up for it, now they'd have to wait till September 23rd. So they would have been on server for basically 3 months or so before they could go to an event. So it was more for players that were returning on the last batch from event.
Okay, so did you say it was registration or sign up on the 23rd?
The registration period is going to start on September 23rd. So the registration period takes 10 days. During those 10 days, you have CSC open, and you register for the event that you're going to go to and go from there. What personally I think is happening is, and maybe Star Luna or Cleo can assist on here, but I think there are currently 3 batches going, right? There's 3 different batches of when players come and go from server to event. It seems to me that they're going to, because of this delay, I think they're narrowing it down to 2 batches, is what it appears to me, which would increase the availability of alliances that are in the pools per batch. Okay, so they're basically making it so that more teams are available per batch, and they're eliminating one of the batches, is what it sounds like to me.
Okay, yeah, and that was what it was sounding like to me. I was just wondering more of the times. Thank you very much for your answers, and thanks for inviting me up on stage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm probably wording it a little bit wrong by wording it as a batch. I should probably see more of a rotation. There's currently 3 rotations that are going on, server to event, and so by narrowing it down to only 2 rotations, you will have a wider array of teams that are available per rotation. And there's a lot of speculation around why they're delaying this. I mean, if you follow the game very closely, the release of Lost Island, and then the release of Barrenland, and then the release of Vast Jungle, it's getting to the point where they may be introducing a new gameplay in that September 23rd release. So a lot of players are speculating that a new type of event will be coming out. I personally don't believe that's the case because there have been a lot of issues surrounding Vast Jungle. And so there's been quite a few more corrections on how Vast Jungle plays out because the initial version was very
Frustrating.
I'm not going to say frustrating. It was very because it affects like the very first rounds of the event favored red camp significantly. The next rotation favored blue camp extremely. And then it's kind of like evened out a little bit now as they make changes to the rules and how the game plays. So it is a little bit better. I still don't think it's perfect, but and I do expect some more changes to happen. But there's nothing that we know. All of this that we're discussing right now is pure speculation as to why they're delaying it. But just knowing how the system works and how the game plays, it's a safe assumption that at a minimum, the reason for this delay is that they are trying to make it so more alliances are available in the pool to verse each other, and by limiting the amount of batches. That's personally what I think is happening. Some of my stage teammates here may disagree with that, but I think it's just a simple making it so that the batches have more teams available so that there's a wider array of teams that you may face during an event based on, whatever their algorithm is for strength and alliance size and stats and everything like that. Do you guys have any opinions on that, Guppy? Or
So
I
I
mean,
think
I
it's
agree.
I think it's a batch alignment. I think
it's just making it so that they have a bigger pool of alliances to choose from the rotations?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, no.
Oh my God, you guys can't hear me.
No, I can hear you, Otto. I don't think Soul can hear you though. No, I agree with you, Soul. I think it is kind of just aligning everybody, getting the pools open to where there's going to be a lot more teams to face. And then, I mean, the rest is just speculation at this point.
Leo thinks that Baron Ocean is coming. Can we fight on boats, little rafts and stuff? Like, hey, we got to take this raft and
we're not building
have
towers.
a
We're
sea battle
building
with our Godzilla fitting on a little raft.
Oh my goodness! I wonder if the tree will be a palm tree instead.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, but it's going to be frustrating for a lot of players. Waiting in server until registration comes out. I believe they said September 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So, perfect time to gather some resources and speed ups and get ready. But there's definitely a reason, and like Guppy said, to expand the range of teams to join these patches will be good because for me personally, I've been facing a similar team a couple of times in a row now, so it'd be nice to face different opponents, make matchmaking a little bit more fair in my opinion. But we'll find out more after September 23rd, it seems like.
Yeah. So here's another thing to that was posted in our Stage Topics channel that I kind of wanted to cover briefly. But someone posted that they were looking for maze tactics that are used and how everyone handled going through the maze. I've covered this before in another stage when Maze came through, but it's always good to go back and kind of like remind players. Everyone has like different takes on this. So this is just one way that I handle it. But, most importantly, when it comes to special ants, you obviously want to upgrade the ants that are best towards your PvP and PvE squads. That's kind of like the most important because it assists you in events. It assists you in getting higher scores on Pangolin and on Groundhog, which reward wise is better than the rewards that are given through the maze. So the way I personally handle it is when it comes to the spores and stars and material needed to increase ants, the main focus is always going to be on my fighting units for PvP, secondly PvE, and then after that I will spend some spores here and there randomly on ants to increase their skills so I can get further and further in the maze. Now the downside to that line of thinking is spores are also utilized for the the mutation pool to increase those, and the requirement of spores in that area are very high as well. So it's a catch-22. You can either spend spores to increase the skill of ants that are like random ants that will help you get through the maze further, or you spend those towards increasing mutations that help you in your PvP and PvE areas. So it's very difficult to answer that question because every player has different priorities. I would say that because of the limited amount of resources when it comes to spores and exotic shells, let's say you have 12 ants with stars on them, right? That goes towards the special ant boost. Now, if you start adding stars to a 13th, 14th, 15th ant to help you get through the maze, you're actually kind of doing your entire account a disservice because you're taking away potential stat increases that will help in other areas. And the same goes with when it comes to spores, right? If you're spending spores on an ant that's on the account to increase its skills that you do not use in any of your fighting squads, again, you're doing kind of a disservice because you could spend those spores in the mutation pool. So it's a very fine line between from account to account on how you want to pursue that. But if maze is one of your top priorities on your account, then the simple answer is get every single orange ant that you have as high a level as you possibly can, and all the skills activated, all the skills upgraded as high as you can, and you'll get further and further in the maze. Now, the question was very vague that they posted, so the other aspect of that is also, and another tactic I would say is don't utilize the auto feature, the auto run through the maze. You will get further if you manually do the entire maze, because the auto feature does bypass some of the boosts that are given as you're going through the maze, where you can decide to go a different path to grab one of those shells that give you additional stat increases to get you further through the maze. So avoid doing the auto run through. You should get further. And then finally, the last thing is do it as fast as you can. Okay. Doing the maze as fast as you can will get you higher up on the list, because the first person to reach a level is the person that gets that level. So, like, if there are 10 people tied for level 35, for example, whoever gets to 35 first is in a higher position on the maze. So, those are my, my take on the maze anyway.
And sorry, just want to add in quickly. If you haven't already, go to Live IDs and post your in-game ID to receive a little reward. But also one thing that many players can probably do too to help raise their level in Maze is hatching new ants. If you get more ants, the better chances of you reaching a higher level. So that's also one thing too.
There's also a underground maze guide on the forums. I don't know if I can post the link in here, but I'll give it a shot. If anybody wants to go and check that out.
Oof.
Nice.
And also too, have you guys noticed when you hit oh my goodness, I cannot remember the name, but when you're doing the maze and you're doing it manually, you select autofill and it puts your ants in some strange positions I've noticed that I would never even think of trying. Like, for example, if you're doing shooter level, it will put my strongest heavy hitters up front where I would never in 100 years think of putting and let's say an 8-star EJ up front and a 7-star Dolly all the way in the back. So
yeah, I never understood the lineup on the autofill when it comes to it myself, but I don't know how much it affects it, to be honest with you. I don't think it works like PvP or PvE where positioning matters as much. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I think it's more the overall strength of the ant. And another question that was posted here is, do you start with weaker ants in the lower level? I personally, I just auto roll it. I don't really want to focus too much on maze myself. So I literally just auto roll it on special ant day when it allows you to heal 4 more ants. I heal my 4 strongest ants and auto roll it again. To me, it doesn't really matter. I the max that I've been able to hit is 41, just like who posted here? Someone posted 41. They're stuck at 41. Jew. So I'm in the same position. I'm stuck at 41. I don't really care. It's a task that I don't want to be bothered with. I just kind of do it to grab the protein and stuff, and so I'm not a very good source for that. But yeah, to answer your question, Andrew, that is a tactic that's also used. People start with weaker ants in the lower levels because it doesn't affect them. Me personally, I don't see really the point. The stronger ants blow through the levels and don't get hurt, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think it matters much, but there are people that say it does and they can get further. So blowing out your weaker ants in the beginning is a tactic that a lot of people do use. So how do you do it? How do you do it, Draco?
Honestly, with my maze stuff, I honestly been pretty lazy. I just auto hunt. Like, I need to get that better, but what you've discussed before, maze isn't really something I worry about because my mutations, that's one thing I need to work on. And also, one thing that will even affect the maze is your special and troop boost by adding more stars. So I've been trying to grind on that a lot. So yeah, maze is something I'm not too worried about. All y'all who are 41, 40, or even the 30s, yeah, you're higher than me because I'm only at 29, unfortunately.
So it's interesting what Jude just said, that all but 6 of the 49 ants he has are level 50 and maxed spores. Um, I have a couple friends of mine that were in similar positions, pushing maze and everything. But then they wound up like literally just destroying their ants to gain back the 80% of the spores so they could spend it on the mutation pool. So that's kind of like my point, is that it really depends on where your account is and what your focus is. They sacrificed ants that they had already invested spores in that they no longer use. They're not getting it. They're obviously losing levels that they could have attained before in the maze, because now they have a bunch of ants that they don't have any level on them, but they're pushing the mutation pool a lot. So it really depends on a lot of factors. If you have awakenings that you need to max out and you need the protein, then getting as far as you can in the maze is one route. If you want to focus more on your main squad that you fight with and use for PvE, then you might want to spend those spores more in the mutation pool, so you can pop an ant in there that will help you get a higher score. So
Yeah. Oh man, but sorry to change the subject, but have you guys seen the new Anto? I think it's new. Please
it
correct me if I'm wrong.
just
Oh,
came
yeah.
out latest Evo. You have a shot of it? Yeah.
Yes, I do. It's a cute
Happy
little oh my gosh, what's that dog called?
The buff's not worth it to me.
Happy puppy.
It looks like it's drowning.
Yeah, I like the animation. The animation's cool.
Yeah, like I actually want the developers to add more animations to these anthills because which they have, I don't get me wrong, they have, but maybe add some old anthill skins that have been around for a while into oh my goodness, the treasure store where you spend your little branches on. I'd like to see some more added in there too, because I know some players are probably almost bought everything in there. So, I'd actually like to see a few more added in there.
I'd like the option to turn the animation off if I don't want to see it, because sometimes when you have 50 Dragon Hills sparkling at you, it's a lot.
Honestly, yeah, those little fireworks coming out of there, yeah, that's something. But
I don't think the picture you posted does it justice, though. I kind of think it's a pretty cool anthill skin with those clouds kind of are circling around the happy puppy, but I think it's cool when you see it in game.
yeah, it looks
I
like
thought
the
it
happy
was
puppy's
water.
water bending.
Is it water? It might be water. I thought it was clouds.
I think
But
it's
yeah,
water.
water.
Yeah,
I think it's drowning.
yeah, it's drowning in the pay-to-win events.
Yeah.
Same.
To me, it looks like it's water bending right now. Ooh, looks cool, but I'll actually like to see more ants hills added into that treasure store because it's getting pretty grim here, seems like. Because you don't really have much
Sticks
options.
for the stick store.
Yes, the treasure store, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get what, 1, 2,
I
3,
call
4,
it the
5,
stick store.
7. Yeah, the stick store. Honestly, it's easier to remember. You have 8 anthill skins and what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 March troops skins. I like to see something else added in there, something unique, special. Maybe the swinging banana because bananas. I love my. Just saying bananas reminds me of a little minion.
I want a refund if they let you get the swinging banana for sticks.
Hey, I did get a refund for when I purchased, I think it was Wasp, and then a month later it popped up in the insect growth plan.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But you got it
But
as a
just
7-star,
another
not a
reminder
5-star.
before we wrap up stage today. Make sure you go into the live IDs, post your ID for joining stage today and listening us to rant and ravel about our favorite game here. We'll have the fairies send you guys a nice little gift for joining us today. We do want to thank everyone for coming here to stage. If you've missed any portion of the stage, want to go back and look to it, we have a stage videos channel that all of these stages are recorded. You can go back and listen to it or look at it and catch anything that you may have missed in the past. Please, if you do go to the YouTube channel, like and follow it. It'll help us reach more players.
And he gone. We lost him.
Sorry.
he going and out of here.
Now, our whole philosophy here has been like a informed audience is, or an informed player base is a happy player base, and the more you know about this game and the different tactics and strategies, the better it is for everyone. So, thank you all again, and we look forward to seeing you next week on live stage.
Yeah.
For those posting their IDs on YouTube and Twitch, I am adding them to the list. So thank you very much for participating in the YouTube chat. That was much appreciated. I'm glad you all enjoyed it, and you will get your IDs added. So don't worry about it. You can post your live IDs in the YouTube chat.
Yep, exactly. And just a quick thing too, like what Sol was mentioning, if you share these YouTube links, today is the perfect example because not a lot of players are still going to understand the new evolution that has been added to the game. So this is a fun little video you can share with your alliance mates or other players to understand the new evolution. So, share that around and like it, like Sol said, and subscribe. And thank you guys for another great stage. See you guys next week.